The second thing is that true worship has a cost. True worship has a cost. You know, when you pay a lot of money for something, you treat that like it's your baby, right? When I get forgive me, I'm so bad, but like when I get a new computer or something, I like, please don't touch the screen. I don't know what your fingerprint's on my screen, right? When you get a new car, you're washing that thing on the weekends. You're perfuming that thing on the inside with those little trees that hang, right? You look after it. You don't just toss your keys to your 16-year-old and go, hey, have fun. Drive it like it's stolen, return it on a full tank. Right? You don't do that. When my dad buys a new car, he doesn't tell me about it. For years, I would come home like, there's a new car in the garage. And he would never let me drive it. Never let me drive his car. Even when I had a license. Why? Because he valued what he got so much, right? When we value something, we are willing to pay a lot for it. We treat it differently. We treat things differently when we pay for something more. When there's a cost attached, there's value intrinsically that we give towards it. This perfume that Mary had was imported from India, from the mountains of India. It took a long time to get to Jerusalem. A year's wages is what it was valued at. Now, at the current South African minimum wage level of 23.19 Rand, that's about 47,000 Rand that she poured out on Jesus. Now, that depending on how much you earn, that's a lot of money. But put it into your own context, because that meant a lot for her. What about your wage? A whole year's wages. Maybe for some of us, it's 500,000 Rand. Imagine putting that at the feet of Jesus and knowing you never get it back. Here's the thing, because when she poured it out on Jesus, there was an opportunity cost. Because now she could never use it to perfume herself anymore. And she had to replace that bottle. I don't think she had insurance on the imported nard from India. So she lost it twice. It was a double cost attached to this gift. That's how valuable this gift was in her worship. Here's the thing, worship will cost you. King David said it like this in 2 Samuel 24:24, when he was buying the place where the temple would be. I will just tell you what happened. David, he's at the threshing floor, and the guy wants to give him the place for free. He says, no, this is my gift to you. But David says, I will never let do anything for the Lord that won't cost me. Why? Because worship has a cost attached to it. Think about it. Whatever you give yourself to has a cost attached to it. When you go fasting this next few weeks, there's a cost attached to it. When you sing and worship in the house of God, there's a cost attached to it because you could have been somewhere else. When you give financially to the Lord, when you say, God, thank you for what you've given me, I'll worship you with my finances, there's a cost attached to it. But Jesus also said that where your treasure is, your heart will be also. So that's why David says, I will not do anything for the Lord that doesn't cost me, because where my treasure is, my heart is. That's why Mary breaks a bottle of the most expensive perfume in the world over Jesus, because that's where her treasure was, that's where her heart was. If you want your heart in the kingdom, throw your wallet into the kingdom. But also, cost is what I'm trying to say. It costs you nothing to come. If you want to worship God in the services, and some people do. I feel sometimes for our band. Not this service, because this service is all engaged, all in. It's the other service, which I'll talk to them later about. But some people worship there's no cost there. So there's no value there. Worship requires a cost. Rarely does decreased involvement lead to increased devotion. Rarely does decreased church attendance lead to increased devotion. Rarely does decreased any spiritual activity lead to increased devotion. We're living in a world with so much distraction and so many choices. But maybe the cost of sacrificing some of those things so that we can worship Jesus will show Jesus how much we love him. You know, when my wife and I, when we want to do something together, it often requires us to say no to something else, right? But sometimes it's even a good thing. Like the other week, I was supposed to go to Joburg. Thank you, Kalula, for that not happening. But I was supposed to play football on the Monday night. But because my wife said, listen, please don't play football because you're going to be out this week, I'm like, absolutely. There was a cost. Let's show Jesus that we love him by the cost we're willing to pay.